Hi there, and welcome to another success story. I think you're going to love this one. So today I have 66-year-old Connie, who is an absolute joy to speak to. So Connie, hello.
Hello, Stephen.
Hi there.
Aloha from
Really,
Maui.
yes. Well, you live in a lovely part of the world.
Yes, I do.
And it's really nice that you've agreed to do this. And I've already spoken to your husband, and we had a very interesting chat, and that's been a very popular success story. So I just want to get on to my first question, which I ask everybody. Why did you become carnivore?
I started a little over 2 years ago. In fact, I remember the date because it was October 11th, my brother's birthday. I had called him and I was telling him of the list of physical problems I had. I was taking over 28 prescription drug pills a day. I had just had heart surgery. I was diabetic. I was having all kinds of problems. And I said to him, my nightstand is starting to look like mom's. This is not okay. And his answer was, oh, Connie, we're getting old. You got to expect these things. And when I hung up with him, I went, no. My background is a biochemist. I used to work as a medical laboratory technologist, a microbiologist. I looked at this and I went, no, we're being lied to. So I just sat and thought, okay, when was the food successful? And the closest thing I had was Atkins. When I was doing the Atkins program, my daughter and I were both probably in the best shape we had been in a long time. That was over 20, 25 years ago. But then we went to a well-meaning doctor who thought that we should be doing breakfast morning protein shakes with a lot of fruit. And there we went right into the wall. We didn't realize that was what caused it. We just knew that all of a sudden we had gone off the rails, and 130 pounds up. Later, that's when I was talking to my brother, and I went, no, this is really wrong. So I went back and I said, if I'm going to fix this, I'm going to have to fix this, because I think my doctors, well-meaning, are kind of clueless on some of these subjects. Not all, but some. So when I was researching, bang, up came keto over and over again. So being the background that I have, I'm like, okay, what's with this keto thing? And with the COVID running, I had tons of time to research, and I would read the full papers. That's my background. And I went, they're lying. Okay, I'm sorry, I hate to say, you're lying. The wheat, grains, pasta, this is not the base of our food. The base of our food is just the opposite. You flip that thing over. So I started on keto, success right away. After about 40, 50 pounds down, oh, and by the way, I was getting ready for spine surgery because I was in so much pain with my back, I could barely walk. About 40, 50 pounds down, we kind of stalled. So I had to move a little away from the high fat keto to a little more protein. And then it took off again. By the way, end up doing that many times, back and forth, adjust, bring it back down. And at 130 pounds. And then what was happening is we started to realize over and over again, and again, I'm a biochemist, I should know this, but years, almost half a century, 50 years worth of pounding in my head, the fat was bad and carbs were good, the vegetables were good. I forgot that carbs aren't necessary at all. In fact, our body's more than capable of taking those triglycerides, ripping off the head, the liver makes glucose. I routinely go on 72-hour fasts every week. I had been for the end of last year. We're starting a little new thing of not doing that quite as much now. But my glucose never had an issue. I'm fine. Your body makes enough glucose, takes that rest of the fat, turns into ketones. You've got tons of energy. And in the meantime, now I start running again. And I was at one point there running 5 miles a day when you did an intercession on me, and talked about maybe not so much because of my back. It wasn't that I couldn't do it. I was just having a thrill that here I am in Maui. And yes, I can run the coastal trails for 5 miles a day. Now it's 3 times a week for 2 miles a day. And yes, the back is happy with that. But so what was happening is over time, more and more vegetables were leaving. My husband was wonderful about it. He didn't have to lose really any weight. He'd been a lifetime marathon runner and And so, but eventually he'd say, don't make anything special for me. I don't care. And so an example would be a chicken fettuccine Alfredo. I'd make his noodles. I'd make my zoodles out of zucchini noodles. Eventually he said, stop making the noodles. I like your zoodles. And then after a while, we're like, you know what? The best part isn't the zoodles. The best part is the chicken with the Alfredo sauce. So that's how we kept sliding down the scale, closer to carnivore. 2 years ago, we did Dr. Berry's challenge with our group. for BBBE, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, tea and coffee. And if I didn't say it, you're not eating it. So beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And it was a clearing out diet for a month, and then to slowly start re-entering foods. And when we got to the end of that, it was like the lights bulb finally went off. And I realized, no, you really don't. Not only do you not need the carbs and all the veggies, they don't do you good. We don't feel our best that way. And then it was capped off by, that was in October, November, Thanksgiving at my house. I made instead of mashed potatoes, I made cauliflower mash, which is delicious with, with all the creams and the sweet creams. And it was delicious, but we all thought, my husband and I both thought we were going to die that afternoon. And that was the reaction to all that cauliflower that we, again, hadn't had in a very long time. And I like cauliflower and I loved this, but it did not love us. And that was kind of it. We were like, okay, we're good. And I would say now over time, we probably eat the BBBE 95% of the time. The 4% more is carnivore, and maybe like 1% I'll throw into the keto land for being sauces, like cocktail sauce with the shrimp, but it's still no sugar added. And that's how we got there. And we have never, both of us, I mean, he's 85. He's going to be 85 in just a couple months. I'm 66. We both have never felt better in our whole lives. Our doctors, we just had all our blood work. We just had all our exams. And even the ones who were like not real excited about us doing, not negative, but you could tell that look like, well, we'll see how this goes, are now, I noticed a couple of the doctors are looking a little trimmer these days and have been reading up on the study. So I'm guessing that they may be following this program a bit. I know a couple of our doctors and a couple of their nurse practitioners are. So yeah, it finally did it. And everybody says, are you going to change? When are you going to stop this diet? People who don't know as well. People who know us got it. This ain't going anywhere. When do I want to feel bad again? I mean, I can run if you wanted me to. I could go 5 miles right now out the door. 2 years ago, I couldn't walk. I'd have a hard time getting into the kitchen. I mean, when do I want to go back? Now, it doesn't mean that this is eternal. So it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. That's why I cringe when somebody says diet. Or they ask me how many pounds I lost and how quick. That to me is red flags, because this is not how many pounds you're going to lose, how quick, although that was a nice extra. And I would agree that most people started for that reason, but you stay because of what you realize, how you feel. And it's forever. Will I ever never have another dessert? I had 2 last year, one for my birthday and one for my anniversary, which I shared with Richard. And he's fast with the spoon, so he gets most of it. But that's fine. That's going to be my lifestyle forever. I'm wearing the new Libra GCI just to check to see where things are going. And it looks like I'm dead. It's flatline, whether I eat, whatever, my normal meals, nothing. So I'll use it again when we go on the low carb cruise or when we leave the area, when I'm eating, but we still eat out. Restaurants they know us. We have a date night Friday night standing reservation at a 5-star restaurant right up here. And they're making all this fancy food. And you know what they make for us? A ribeye steak with 3 fried eggs. There we are, no bread on the table, and don't even ask us about dessert. Every Friday night, they laugh. The people in the kitchen will come out and say, "We know you're here. We saw the eggs." It's like, yeah, we're here. There's no place we've ever gone that couldn't do it. There are places we've gone where I'm suspicious about some of their cooking sauces and spices and stuff, and that's why then this comes in handy, because if I'm eating something I'm going to eat there several times during that week, say like on a cruise, I need to know that sauce, yeah, no, it's not clean. And it's just my choice. If I'm going to choose to have more glucose, I'd rather have it in some very special dessert than in some gravy that they just threw in the bottom of plates. But again, it's forever. I don't see it changing. Obviously, to say never needed spine surgery, never will, God willing. I was no longer a diabetic. I knew within 6 weeks, which, by the way, that was in October. I started keto mid-October. That Christmas Eve, I was in the hospital, full kidney failure. And it was a drug interaction it turned out to be a drug interaction between all the drugs I was taking. They didn't know that, so they were throwing on top of it more drugs and more antibiotics, which just exasperated it. So I went all the way down. I don't know if you're familiar with it, EGFR. It was 14 when I hit the hospital. Yeah, that's bad. I went in thinking things were actually getting better, and I was informed to expect to be there for a week to go on dialysis, and they're going to put me on the kidney transfer list. That's not good. So I already told them, nope, we're done. And most of these drugs I dropped. I informed my doctor what I was doing. I did keep the heart medicines because that was the most extreme, and I still needed to lose more weight to clear those. But right now I take one pill, and it's a thyroid pill. And I tried to get off of that, but apparently, no, we're not getting off of that, but it's Armour Thyroid. That's it. And my number of supplements I take, I used to take handfuls of supplements every day. I think I take 4, like vitamin D, vitamin K, CoQ10. I mean, it's just a small bunch of things. And everybody else around us is sick now with the winter flu, and we're happy as clams. So it's going good, Stephen. It's going really good.
Sounds great. So you're type 2 diabetic, but
not anymore.
Not anymore. And
we know what my A1C is, 4.9.
Wow.
And
do you want to show people your monitor? You showed me.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. It's really boring, but I just wanted to verify. So this is what it looks like for the day, for like yesterday. And I'm going to try to. Whoops.
Go back a little bit.
Just says, oh no, it's going to give you my credit card. Never mind. Here we go.
Look at that.
Can you
Isn't
see
that beautiful? Yeah, that's brilliant.
Okay.
That's brilliant.
It's hard to tell, but it's like no difference. It's between 50 and 100, maybe 110. And so the range really is staying around 20 points. I bounce meals or no meals. I'm around 80, 90, maybe occasionally. Doesn't matter if I'm eating, if I'm running, nothing. And that's carnivore.
That's carnivore. And
that's carnivore.
You had about 28 prescription meds and you're only on one, did you say?
One. I had 28 pills I would take a day, prescription pills, and now I take one tiny one in the morning.
That is fantastic. Did you have any? I'm sure you had some other conditions like high blood pressure. Did you?
Oh yeah.
GERD?
Oh, all of it. We had all of it. I had GERD. I had my throat stretched the year before twice, and I had biopsies done of my stomach twice because and test for pylori. All the stuff you can rattle it down, all gone. And it's fine. I told the doctor who was the one that was monitoring the throat and did the procedures. I said it was the food. Once I got rid of the grains and the sugar, it went away. And I don't think he doesn't believe me. I mean, the answer to everything is here. Take another pill. And no, gone. It's all gone. And then, by the way, I'm off the heart medicines too. Because I no longer have arrhythmias, I no longer have to take the blood thinners. So that was a serious pill that I was taking with the blood thinners, which is now gone.
It's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. Did you have thyroid issues at all?
Oh yeah, I still do. And I'm one of those people who really does have hypothyroid. We tried to wean further off even the thyroid pill, but it needs to stay, unfortunately, for now. But we'll see. Who knows? 5 years out, 6 years out in carnivore, maybe. And we test it several times a year, the full panels, the whole T3, T4, the GSA, the whole thing. And if it flips, it's fine with us. Oh, by the way, my kidney function now is routinely, my EGFR is 100, over 100, 101, 102. And the doctors say that's not possible. We've done it multiple times. My husband, who was, because of his age, was getting that slow degradation of his kidney function, where they're like, yeah, that's normal, and every 10 years you're going to lose another X% of your kidney function. He's going the other way, which they said is unheard of. But I hear it all the time in the carnivore community. People with really serious kidney issues are fine. My kidneys are teenagers' kidneys right now. We're completely fine. So I know the drugs didn't help, and obviously the drug interaction was deadly for my kidneys. So when somebody says, oh, if you go carnivore, you're going to kill your kidneys, or you're going to kill your liver, or you're going to kill. My doctor describes my liver as happy liver. That's what now he says, now you got happy kidneys, happy liver, happy heart. He goes, okay, you're just happy. He didn't even talk at our last big meeting that we had to review all of our records. He spent some time talking to Richard, who all of his numbers improved dramatically. And then he just looked at mine and goes, yeah, there's nothing to talk about here. And off it goes. And it's like, that's a doctor's appointment.
That's brilliant, isn't it? It's amazing. So, practicalities then. What are you doing? Are you doing 2 meals a day, or do you have a time restriction on when you
Yeah,
eat?
I was doing this 72-hour fast once a week to try to get rid of the loose skin. Um, I'm trying now, and again, this is what constantly happens. You're gonna keep trying. You're gonna keep trying some different things. How's it going? Again, my med lab tech background, I'm constantly doing finger jab checking. What's going on? I just want to know. It's a number. It's ketones, just like the scale is a number. It's a data point, and it helps me see trends of what's going on. But we had been doing OMAD, 1 meal a day, for most of last year. I found, especially when I started running again, that I really needed a 2 MAD, like a 1 meal and one smaller one, or I started to snack, and snacking is a no-go. So now we're doing 2 MAD in that we'll have eggs and some kind of mostly bacon, maybe some leftover meat from dinner before for breakfast. That's around 10-ish for us, because we'll go out and run and do whatever we're going to do first. And then we'll have a second meal, which will probably be about 3-4 o'clock. I have a prime rib floating in the sous vide right now, and that will be tonight's dinner. And that's pretty standard. A bigger piece of meat or something, and it can stand alone. We don't have any problems with just having a slab of prime rib, and what's left from the prime rib will be the breakfast meat for the next day. But generally meats, we live on Richard's now a prime rib convert. He used to like only ribeyes, but we've got him on prime ribeyes, prime. But also we do got a bunch of flanken cut short ribs, and some ground beef, and we're just messing around with them, different things. But eggs is a big deal. We really, I mean, we can power through eggs in this house.
Do you add butter or any
Yeah.
fats to them?
Yes, we do. Now, for right now, because I did the higher fat thing back in November, I gave it 2 months. My weight went up 20 pounds, and I don't want to scare everybody because that's just okay. What happened? It came back down 5, but it's sticking there, and it can't stick there. So that's not cool. I do feel great. So what I'm doing is every time I do something like that as an experiment, I learn something from it. And from this one, it got me over. I was sliding into that bad habit of making scrambled eggs and adding egg whites to my couple of eggs. That's gone. So now what I'm doing is, like, Richard gets his soft-boiled eggs swimming in butter. So he'll have like 6-7 soft-boiled eggs in about 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I now took the butter out. I'll still have 4 soft-boiled eggs, but just without it. But I'm eating the fatty cuts of meat. Like I said, the flanken cut short ribs are really fatty. We eat prime rib. I'll eat the fats with the meal that comes there now. I'm not afraid of butter. I make the protein sparing modified fast, the egg white bread pieces and rolls, and that's just a vehicle to carry butter. But I don't put as big of a slab on there as I used to of the butter. And we're just going to see where that takes me. What's that doing? We seem to have stabilized, and it's a long term. We'll give it 2-3 months, and then we'll take a look at it and see if we're happy where that is. So, but it's still higher fat. It's definitely higher fat. 80%, 80-20 is a hard number to hit. You got to really be focusing on your fat and limiting your meat. And I found that wasn't as good for me, for Connie, for me, and for me right now. And that can change at any moment. But right now, that's what we're doing. So I'm still getting a lot of butter with the bread, and with the fats, with the meats. So I would still call it fatty, but I'm probably stick more like around 70-30 is my ratio.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that experience. It's good for healing, but I think for weight management, sometimes slightly lower fat actually is pretty good. I'm finding that with a lot of clients. What about drinks? What do you drink?
What do we do? When we're on BBBE, we drink a lot of iced tea. We non-sweetened, and we have tea. Like I just had my breakfast tea, followed me in here today. So we have tea in the morning, and we enjoy that breakfast part. We kind of missed that when we did OMAD. Again, it's beautiful here in Maui. Our patio overlooks the ocean, overlooks the lanai. Whales are breaching and doing the whale stuff now. So it's nice after the eggs and some kind of breakfast meat to sit there and have a cup of tea and just discuss the day. But other drinks, iced tea, I do some electrolytes. I find it's real hard to do the electrolytes if they're not slightly flavored. So I use a lot of electrolyte capsules now if I'm doing the fast. and I mean more than a 48-hour fast. 48 hours I have no issues with. After that, if I'm still exercising, again, it's hot here. It's always hot every day. You're sweating if I'm working in the garden or whatever. And I find a couple capsules will do the trick for that.
Well, I think you're absolutely amazing, and I love the fact that you're still researching, and I love the fact you're still running as well, because when people have back pain, they do get really concerned, but a lot of it is brought on by inflammation and bad diet. And I think once you reduce the inflammation, a lot of the pain goes. Was that your experience as well? Did you find that?
Yeah, I found that, and I found obviously also when you drop some of the weight, that right there makes it so much easier. And I think that's might be what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that 15 pounds still on there when I'm running. Now, if this turns out where I am, so be it. I mean, I'm happy, I'm healthy, my blood work is great. I'm game to hike with somebody anywhere they want to go on this island. I'm game to hike with somebody whenever we travel. So I'm not like, oh, I could. And by the way, I don't have any unrealistic. I'm not trying to be the weight I was when I was 19. We're not. I was in ballet then, and I was anorexic. We're not going for that. We're going for a number much higher. And if I hit that, good. It's just a goal. It's just something to sit there to go, well, maybe you ought to still poke around with a few more things. I think I still have some things to learn and adjust to. And like I said, I don't doubt for a second that even when I come to something that's working fabulous now, that in 5, 10, 15 years, I might have to look at and go, well, okay, not so much right now. But what else do we have? And you guys keep finding more stuff. Just as we think, oh, this is good. We're going, oh, now it's high fat, higher fat, all fat. You know, it's like, oh, okay, something else to look at. And that's fine, because this is going to be an unending thing. But like I said, if it all got shut down to right now, stay steady, I've got nothing to complain about.
So if you was speaking to yourself when you were 20 and you were trying to convince your younger self about carnivore, would you have had a hard time?
It wouldn't have happened because, well, again, ballet, that is anorexic. If see anybody that's in dance like that, that's, yeah, we all got yelled at one day for eating a head of lettuce between 3 of us. No salad dressing, just the head of lettuce. That was being excessive. Yeah, it was awful. That's where you learn and that's why I'm very careful. And some people have said to me, Connie, you're fasting 72 hours a week. Isn't that like, aren't you worried about the anorexia kicking in? I said, no, the difference is you don't get your fingers in the way of my meat when I'm eating, either before or after. And that was not the case with the anorexia. The anorexia is, you never in a million years would have considered eating like that. What I would have liked to have gotten through to myself was that, and again, I don't know how I could have got myself to believe, because I believed all these experts, they're telling us what's right. They're telling us what's good for us. It didn't make sense at sometimes with my biochemical background that, but that's what they were telling us. And they were dead sure this was right. And eggs were your enemy and fat was your enemy. When I had I wouldn't have had to have my gallbladder out. I wouldn't have needed to have the heart surgery. God knows the grief in between with everything else. But even when I had the gallbladder out, the very first thing, the only time I ever saw a nutritionist in the hospital came in to explain to me that now I can have no fat because I don't have a gallbladder. By the way, no, I don't have a gallbladder, and I eat high fat, both carnivore and I ate high fat keto. But it's been about 30 years. But no, you can do it. If you have to, you ease in with ox blood or some other kind of supplement, but I never had to do anything. My body just adapted.
Brilliant. So how would you sum up what's happened to you? If you could just briefly go through all the things that you had and how they resolved. I'd love like a little list, because I'm with you. Weight loss or fat loss is a sort of side effect. I'm more focused on health. I mean, when we met, you booked me because of health and running and back pain and those sort of things. I don't think we even talked about your 120 pound plus weight loss. I think we just talked about your health. But I lost track because you did have so many things going on, and I'd love to just have like a quick recap of what you had and how what's resolved.
Happy to do that. What I wanted, just so I don't forget to mention to you, one of the things with the doctor's appointment is I have one of those. It's called MDVIP. They do full scans on you. You pay ahead so much per year, and you get all the time you want. And they do spend considerable time with you. they were doing the body scan comparisons. And I even since my last appointment, I lost 35 pounds, but I gained 10 pounds in skeletal muscle. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was more interested in that 10 pounds of skeletal muscle going up than I was in the 35-pound down. The doctor was there, scratching his head going, wow, how that, wow. It is. And that was towards the end too. This wasn't when I was 130 pounds overweight where, you could drop weight pretty quick. Now, this was more towards the end. So that's carnivore. By the way, you want to know what's carnivore? That's carnivore. That your body definition is changing all the time. And I can see it in Richard and I can see it in me, independent of what the weight is. So I'll take 10 pounds of skeletal muscle increase in 6 months any day. So in summary, 2 years plus ago, I was 130 pounds heavier. I had severe back pain so bad I was looking at having back surgery. The neurosurgeon could not pinpoint that location that he wanted to work on yet. And that's the only reason it didn't happen at that time. I had just had heart surgery. I was diabetic. I had high blood pressure. I had GERD, gastro reflux, bad. My throat had swollen so shut. Some days I couldn't swallow a noodle. Okay, that's how bad the throat was. And it was just getting worse. And I was seeing full body rashes that were coming out, which was the first clue that everyone thought, oh, that's shingles. No, that was an interaction between all the drugs. I was taking 28 prescription pills a day just to try to maintain the disaster. And for a fact, if you deal anything with my background, biochemistry, that's bad because all those drugs are interacting in your body all the time. 2 months later, I'm in the hospital with full kidney failure. It was a reaction between all the drugs. Now we fast forward to now. I started keto back in October. Before that, thank God, because I was able to come off some of the drugs. I knew I was no longer diabetic at that moment. And even though the doctors were arguing, well, it won't hurt to stay on them. I'm like, yeah, it will. So we started peeling off the drugs carefully. I let them know what I was doing. But heart medicines were the last ones to go. But we went down, and about a year into it, we did a carnivore challenge, the BBBE challenge, came out the other end of that realizing, no, we don't need any carbs as far as vegetables and whatever. In fact, we feel better without them. And that was over a year ago. And so we're about a year going on a year and a half now of being pure carnivore. And I would say every day of my life, I wake up, I'm eating BBBE, beef butter, bacon and eggs, 90, 95%. Another 4% is carnivore, still other carnivore foods. 1% maybe some sauces or something that would go with it. What we have seen for both my husband and myself, I'm 66, he's 85. We have never been healthier. I can run. I don't have to worry about just trying to walk across my place. I can run. I was running 5 miles a day until you told me that was a little too much for my back, and you were right. I brought it back down to 2 miles 3 times a week and added free weights. I've added muscle, skeletal muscle for my body. I'm still playing with the different ratios and what's going to work for me good, but this is forever. And there's no way I'm going back. There's no way I want to be sick like that again.
That's brilliant. Connie, that is fabulous. So thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Really,
You're
really
most
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Most welcome. Take care, Stephen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Your support means the absolute world to me. And if you're enjoying this show, I've got a small favour to ask you. I'd be incredibly grateful if you would consider becoming a supporter and make a small monthly donation. Your contribution will really help to improve the show. I'll be able to improve the software, maybe put a few more episodes out, and do many things that I'm hoping to do in the future. Do them a lot quicker. So, it's a small monthly contribution. You can cancel at any time, and the link is in the show notes. Thanks very much for listening.